We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Gun Honey, Issue 1. This is a miniseries from Titan Comics under their Hard Case Crime imprint, written by Charles Ardai, art by Ang Hor Kheng. Colorist was Asifur Rahman, letters by David Leach, senior editor Jake Devine, managing editor Martin Eden, edited by Phoebe Hedges. We start off with this guy on a yacht who's this lecherous fat dude, and he sees this girl on a beach that he wants to invite to one of his private parties where there's lots of hot chicks. Turns out she's sneaking a really tiny pistol in, and then of course things go pretty bad for the guy running things. Then she takes off, looks like she lands in San Francisco, where she is approached by a man who apparently just breaks into her house. Her name is Joanna Tan, and this guy is some sort of law enforcement official, but they don't say who he works for, and he takes her to meet his boss, who looks a lot like Mallory Archer. Interesting to note that in the interrogation room, the chair that Joanna sits in has arm clasps and a waist restraint. That's not normal in police departments in the US. I don't know if the artist didn't know that, but we don't really have those here. And especially not in California. That would be a real big no-no. So I don't know if that was a mistake by the artist or if that's meant to signify these are some sort of nefarious secret agents or something. We learned a little bit about Joanna's past and how she was trained by her father to run guns or sneak guns into places and be small and discreet, and she uses her looks to her advantage. Well, the federal agents offer her a job, but she doesn't take it, and she goes out on her next mission, and things do not look like they're going to go the way they're supposed to go for Joanna. Overall, this was kind of an interesting story, but it's very cinematic as opposed to realistic. It definitely has a much more spy element than it does anything to do with the real world. So it's a little bit over the top fantastic in that regard, but I didn't hate it or anything. I thought it was pretty fun. So I'm going to check out issue 2. Like I said, I thought it was a fun story, good hard-boiled detective type thing. A good espionage story, but not really a realistic espionage story. So if you like James Bond type stuff where it's a little over the top, or the Bourne movies, you'll probably like this. Got a well-drawn female lead, and the plot seems to revolve around her breaking in places and planting weapons for other people to use. So pretty fun book. The art is solid. There's a little bit of detailing I would like more of, like you could tell certain corners are being cut, like when the artist draws feet, you can see that the toes aren't individually defined, things like that, little things. But otherwise I like the art, and overall good book. So I didn't feel cheated for the $4. It's probably more worth about $2. You should be able to find this in a discount bin at some point, but it was an interesting read, and like I said, the art was solid. The cover's really good, so that's a good selling point as well. So probably not worth the $4, but an interesting read nonetheless. So if you like crime noir stuff or espionage films, this may be for you. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, you can share the video on your social media, or you can support me in other ways by purchasing something from the merchandise store, supporting me on Patreon, or doing a one-time donation via Streamlabs, which accepts PayPal. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.
We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Gun Honey, issue 2 from Titan Comics. It's written by Charles Ardai, art by Ang Hor Kheng, colors by Asifur Rahman, letters by David Leach, edited by Jake Devine. I have cover B by Robert McGinnis. It's okay, it looks like an old style pulp book, and the feel of that really does flow through the book. So we find out who set Joanna up, but it's not what you think. Agent Barrows is hot on her trail, even plants a tracking device, but now she has to break into a prison to plant a weapon, but things don't go quite like she thought, and a whole bunch of people end up dead. Overall, I would say this is a pretty decent read, but you have to do a lot of suspension of disbelief. It really does have the feel of an old crime noir, but it really has no concept of actual police procedures or how prisons are run or what federal agents are allowed to do. So you have to suspend a lot of belief. We do get some background on Joanna and how she's alive and her family history, that sort of thing. There's also, I have to warn you, some hardcore nudity in here and sexual scenes, so some readers are not down with that. But overall, it was an okay read. I think it required a little too much suspension of disbelief on my part. Too much watching Investigation Discovery makes it so that, some of the stuff is just a little over the top, but that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be pulp fare. So I thought it was worth the read, but probably grab it out of a discount bin or get it in trade. I don't think the single issues are really worth $4. The art's good, it's solid, the story's fun, but just really wasn't doing it for me in this issue. Maybe next issue will be better. I have that one here. Hopefully that review will be posted tomorrow. And so far, I think it's okay. It's worth it. It's just not worth cover price. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links to my merchandise store, Patreon, and Streamlabs are all listed in the description. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one. Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Gun Honey issue 3. This is a 2021 miniseries from Titan Comics, written by Charles Ardai, art by Ang Hor Kheng, colorist was Asifur Rahman, letters by David Leach, group editor Jake Devine, edited by Phoebe Hedges, editorial assist by Callum Collins. Now Joanna has been dragged into whatever nameless letter alphabet agency is trying to recruit her and yelling at her because there are 29 dead because of the gun she snuck into the prison. Now they're threatening to arrest her and she's like, I don't work for you. But they want her to track down the person that did this and she's not really interested, but she's going along with it. And she has to take Agent Barrows with her, who apparently just screams cop. So no one buys any kind of cover that she tries to give for him. And they track the guy down to a spa because he's got 90% of his body covered in scars and burn tissue and he likes to hang out at spas. Well, when they get there, Joanna goes in the ladies section and Barrows has to wait outside because he knows what kind of shenanigans goes on at these things and he doesn't really want to have sex with any dudes apparently. Well, some people come busting in and Barrows and Joanna have to make haste to get out of there, and we get a gratuitous nudie shot for some reason or other, but they do get a lead on where to go and they end up having been followed, but things aren't quite as they seem and there's a twist ending. Overall, the story is pretty good. This issue is definitely better than last issue. I don't think the writer knows a whole lot about American law enforcement, but it's a noir story, so it doesn't really matter. Overall, though, if you like crime noir, you'll probably like this. I like the art style. I think it's pretty good. The artist needs to work on faces a little bit, a little detailing occasionally, but most of the time it's fine. There is some nudity in here, though, so be prepared for that if that's something that offends you. Otherwise, I like the story, so I'm going to recommend this. Probably not really worth $4, but I didn't have a problem with it. I'm looking forward to reading the final issue of the miniseries, and I think it's got a lot of potential. So all around, a pretty solid work that is pretty good crime noir. So if you like the hard-boiled detective type stuff, this is definitely going to be up your alley. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel in other ways, links are in the description to my merch store and other ways you can support me. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one. Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Gun Honey issue 4. This is the final issue of the 4-part miniseries from Titan Comics in 2021, written by Charles Ardai, art by Ang Hor Kheng, colors by Asifur Rahman, letters by David Leach, ed by Phoebe Hedges, editorial assist by Callum Collins, and group editor was Jake Devine. So after learning the revelation of who the scarred up guy is from last issue and his connection to Joanna, we are left with a problem. Joanna and this guy want to get some revenge, and Agent Barrows kind of wants to arrest him. So we also find out that the people that attacked them last issue were not friends of this scarred guy, but were in fact sent to kill him. So Joanna and Barrows decide to go undercover into this place, and that involves, well, nipple clamps, for one, and a gimp mask. When they find out the information they needed, they blow the place up, likely killing several innocent people that we saw pictured. Then the secret is revealed as to who killed the Tan family and kind of why. Then we're left with a kind of standard crime noir ending with a topless chick on a beach. I don't want to give too much of the twists away, but it's a bit of a rushed issue because there's a couple things here that could have been explored a little more. This island resort thing that they go to really could have been examined a lot more closely in a separate issue, but they just sort of lump it together. The twist as to who killed the Tan family was pretty good. I didn't have a problem with that. that. The art's pretty solid, but the story was a little bit rushed. Overall, I liked it. It was very straightforward, turn your brain off kind of stuff. Not real practical in the real world, but it was definitely more of a spy espionage movie than anything else. So if you like that sort of thing, then be sure and check this out. I like the art style. I think it lends itself really well to crime noir, and probably could do pretty good at superheroes too. So the use of the hatching and shading was really, really good. And the colorist did a really good job. So all around, it was a pretty entertaining comic. So despite a few flaws in it, I think it was worth a read. Is it worth the $4 an issue? Not really. But if you can find it in a collected format for about $10, I'd say it's worth it. And if you can find the individual issues for about half cover price, probably worth that. So I don't think I'd pay full price again for it, but I'm glad I read it. It does have a lot of nudity and some very adult themes and some graphic violence, but other than that, it was a pretty fun noir read. So if you're a fan of crime noir or like James Bond movies, this might be more up your alley. That's gonna do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description for my merchandise store and other ways to support me. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.